Danielle Locklear has not been seen in weeks. Today, officials tell us a body found in a river in Sampson County may be connected to this case.
15-year-old Danielle Locklear has been missing since last month. Locklear left her grandparents' Hope Mills home to visit a friend. She never arrived and has not been heard from since.
When a person goes missing, it is a deeply distressing situation that triggers an urgent response from family, friends, and authorities. Time is often critical in such cases, as the likelihood of locating the individual decreases the longer they remain missing. The emotional toll on such incidents is profound, with those left behind experiencing a mix of fear, hope, and uncertainty as they await the news of the missing person's whereabouts. Generally, time goes on, new cases arise, and get the full attention of authorities, but family and friends don't forget. They aren't ready to let go, even after their loved one has been found. Welcome back to another episode of Justice For. We are your host.
I'm Jackie.
And I'm Sam. Today's case was submitted to us by a listener. Thank you so much to Lauren for sending this one over to us, as well as chatting with me about it. I'm going to do my absolute best to do justice for Danielle here. It's about 9:45 on March 11th of 2014.
Okay.
It's a chilly night in Hope Mills, North Carolina. That's where we are. 15-year-old Danielle Locklear goes to her grandfather and tells him that she needs to drop off a notebook at a friend's house and she'll be right back.
Normal high school things.
She never returned home.
Not normal high school things?
Yes. Before I move forward, let me tell you about Danielle really quick. Danielle Locklear was a 15-year-old freshman at Southview High School in Hope Mills. Most of her friends called her Dannie. I call her Dannie and Danielle throughout it, just depending on dramatic effect. She was described as vibrant, kind, and full of life. She was known for her warm personality and passion for the performing arts. Lauren, who shared this case with us, was childhood friends with her, and I asked her to tell me about Danielle, and this is what she had to say. We were inseparable when we were together. We would always sit next to each other during services, and when the youth group would do any activities outside of the church, we were always getting into some type of trouble. Running off, being in our own world, etc. The two of us could never be quiet to save our lives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I like them.
Less so because of me, more because of her. I was a very quiet kid, someone that was always made fun of for my size or my interest or really anything. I didn't fit in much, and that bothered me. So when I was picked on, I would just shut up. Well, until Danielle came along. Even though she was younger, she took me under her wing instantly and tried to become my friend. She sought after me, always made me feel wanted, and at the time made me feel like I wasn't the problem. Others were.
Aww.
Danielle got me to open up and be myself. She got me to talk. And when others would try and say something about us being loud or weird, where I would just retract into my shell, she spoke up and essentially told them all to shove it. At the time, it was cool because I didn't really have to fight alone anymore. As you'll see, Danielle was beautiful. She had these beautiful eyes and striking smile. Her laugh, honestly, is the most memorable thing about her. It was infectious and loud, but unique. I don't know how to describe it, but to this day, I can still hear it. Her singing voice was amazing as well. She was just an overall artistic and talented sweetheart. She was the type of person that always greeted you with a smile and always made you feel at ease around her. The true definition of an extrovert adopting an introvert with me and her. She was one of the best friends someone could ask for. Regardless of whatever was happening at home, Danielle was raised to be one hell of a human being.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I know. That was quite a mark.
That was only a bit of what she was describing to me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness. Danielle had recently moved to the area to live with her grandparents and her Aunt China. I'm really sorry if I said that wrong. While her mom was dealing with a painful divorce in another state, so South Carolina, so not too far.
Okay.
China said she was more than delighted to have her. You know, when you move to a new school and you get treated like the weird new kid,
Yeah.
that did not happen.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, she was so outgoing that she made friends instantly. When she wasn't at school, she would be hanging out with her friends, decorating cakes, making some cringy YouTube videos,
Love that.
and would go to church with her family. She was always on social media. And actually, here's a quick clip from one of her YouTube videos.
But if you have to know, I hate Justin Bieber. That's right, I was there. I'm gonna dance for y'all.
I watched all of her videos, and she cracked me up, dude.
I love her.
She was so cringy and random, but I was like, we were totally the same way when we were her age. We would have 100% been friends with this girl.
I'm sorry,
my gosh.
when you were her age?
Oh, we're still like this.
That's true.
apparently.
Yeah. I mean, that makes...
I mean,
Yeah. She was a straight A student and just really seemed to have a passion for life. At church in June of 2013 is where she met 17-year-old Jamichael Malloy. Her aunt said that at first glance, the very first glance they had with each other, sparks were flying.
ooh.
Yes.
Aunties don't lie.
Grandmother also saw it.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Okay.
They started dating right away, even though Jamichael was a senior at another high school.
Okay.
He was her first real boyfriend. He was a varsity soccer player and track star. He wanted to join the Marines after he graduated. He was a very good student, and her family gave him the seal of approval pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
They unfortunately were the typical high school couple that was on again, off again.
Yeah.
Onward. I guess one time he was giving another girl a little bit too much attention and not giving it to Dannie. And she was very much not happy about it. She wasn't one to hide her feelings.
I can see that.
Yeah. But, you know, they got back together.
Like high schoolers do.
Of course. But they also loved each other.
Like high schoolers do.
Friends would say that they were super cute together. He was the calm yin to her crazy yang.
Aw.
I know. Precious.
Adorable.
As badly as I want to end this story right here, while we
I
have
would
this...
love you to.
I know. While we have this beautiful young lady living life to the fullest, I can't do it. Let's go back to March 11th. Chena and Kelly, her grandmother, left town to go to Atlanta for a doctor's appointment. So Dannie was left with her grandfather, who I cannot find his name anywhere.
It happens.
Anywhere. I've tried. But yeah, so she was left with her grandfather until they got back. As mentioned earlier, Danielle told him that she was going to drop a school notebook off to a friend nearby and she would be back soon. The next morning, Grandpa called Chena and told her that Danielle never came home last night. When they hung up, he called the police to report her missing. Chena called Rona, Dannie's mom, who was living in South Carolina, and told her what was going on.
Yeah.
At that time, all three women were rushing to the house to do everything they could do to find Dannie. They get home and the police were there. The case was given to Detective Hamilton. At first, they believed that she had just run away since she had left the house voluntarily. They told the family to just wait a little bit and she'll probably just come back. She may
Pretty
have just,
normal for
She may have
teenagers.
just slept at a friend's house and forgot to tell anyone.
Was this out of character for her? Was she one to not stay in contact or one to do something like this normally? Or is this like super out of character so we're all rushing and freaking out?
The family did not believe this one bit.
Got you. That's where I figured we were with the rush and the instant of calling the police and all of that.
Chena liked to call herself the nosy aunt.
Okay.
Also,
I like her.
same girl, Same.
Listen, I was going through my kid's phone the other day, and I was like, what are you and Sam texting about?
It's
And
the
I'm
most
like, oh my
random thing.
gosh, it's the most random things
It doesn't
ever.
make sense
But I
to
love
me.
it. Keep texting my kid.
She thinks I'm the best.
She does.
But anyway, Sheena, if you happen to listen to this, let's link up, girl. Like, let's make a private investigating company.
Oh, she do a good job?
She gets like 4 gift baskets.
Oh, okay.
And
awesome.
you're going to find out why. Right now.
Okay.
Since Sheena was the nosy aunt and she didn't believe what the cops were saying, she took it upon herself to start calling all of Danny's friends.
Snaps.
First on the list, Jamichael.
Of course.
Yeah, he told her that he hadn't seen her in days and that they had actually broken up again. Sheena also called the school and they told her that Danny had actually skipped school the day that she went missing. This was a huge red flag since this was not like her at all. Again, she's a straight A student and never skipped class.
Yeah.
Sheena then ended up calling the friend that Danny said she was going to drop that notebook off to that night.
Yeah.
And the girl said, oh, no, I never saw her, but we were texting. I do also have pictures of her from earlier in the day when we were hanging out at the creek. This is when Sheena remembered that a couple of nights before Danny went missing, she told Sheena about this creek in the neighborhood that some kids go to hang out at. But Danny said that she wasn't planning on going back there because it's a mess.
And that relates into kids are doing things they're not supposed to, and I don't want to go there anymore.
Yeah. Now that she remembered this creek, Sheena decided to go and find this creek.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
She was walking around the neighborhood and she saw this kid on his bike and asked him to take her to the creek. Like, hey, do you know about this creek? He's like, yeah. And she's like, cool, take me there.
Like, all level of creepy and craziness goes out the door when you're looking for someone. And
Yeah.
I just love how she's a random teenager. You know what's up.
Come here.
Come here.
Love it. This creek was actually in like a wooded area and you definitely had to walk to it a bit to get to it. But as they were walking to it, they looked down at the ground and saw something scraped into the dirt. The word help was scratched into the ground with what looked like a stick.
So I just want to add, growing up on the East Coast, random creeks in like wooded areas were totally normal. I remember in elementary school, there was a creek by my babysitter's house. Now it was literally off of her yard because we're in elementary school that we used to go play in. But if you walked up it, like you were walking pretty far out the back of that neighborhood. And we used to do that as like 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds. So totally super common. Probably a bunch of these creeks, hangout area is normal.
The creek was down a steep bank, but there was a little pathway to it. Around the area was school homework, fire pits, random clothing, and some towels. One of the towels that was there, Sheena recognized from her own home.
The fuck?
I wonder why. At that point, she turned around and went home to tell the police exactly what she had found. They asked Sheena to come back to the creek with them so she could point everything out to them because it finally piqued some interest. This time, as they were walking around the entrance of the trail to the creek, Sheena had noticed a rolled up sock. She said she knew it had to have been Danny's because she's the one that bought it for her.
Oh.
Yeah. She said that Danny only wore them at night at home, so she doesn't know why it would be out by this creek.
Were they like warm fuzzy socks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like nice socks, good socks.
Yeah.
And the sock was also like rolled up into a ball.
Like it had been taken out, like after you do laundry and you ball them up together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At this point, police had noticed that not only was she missing, but her constant social media posting has completely stopped.
I'm impressed they noticed that.
Right? The police then set eyes on the family. They seized all electronics from the house and everyone, like every single piece of electronic.
I get
phones,
it.
computers, from everyone in it.
Yeah.
They then started to deeply question Danny's grandfather. Why would you let your 15-year-old granddaughter, go out at almost 10 p.m. on a school night? Why did you also wait so long into the next day to call the police? He claims that he was playing video games when she came and asked him to go out, and he wasn't paying attention to the time. He also said that he was under the impression that he had to wait 24 hours before you can call someone in as a missing person.
I understand why they're going at him because, like, last person to see, you have to vet and check everything. But at the same time, it's with grandpa, and she was running a notebook over to a friend's house. She wasn't like, hey, I'm going to go out for the night. I'm going to go hang out with my friends. I'm going to go into town. She was just literally running a school notebook over.
Yeah.
I'm not... But also, how old's grandpa if we'd be playing video games? I figured grandpa, like, fell asleep, and that's why he didn't notice till the next morning.
He really doesn't look that old.
Gotcha.
Like, genuinely. I think I showed you the picture of
You
him.
did.
Okay.
But I was just... That clicked after I asked how old grandpa was.
That's okay. He's
Just not what I was expecting you to say. I figured that he, like, fell asleep after she left, and he woke up in the morning and she didn't come home.
He did not look like a feeble old man.
Yeah.
Kind of grandfather that you expect.
He looks like my kids' grandparents.
Precisely, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm just kind of trying to piece
things
I understand
together.
they have to vet every source.
Yeah.
I never suspected grandpa from the beginning, but I know they have to vet every source.
He was asked to come to the police department and take a polygraph. He passed the polygraph, and they never found anything in his phone, so they cleared him as a suspect.
I figured they would.
At this point, Sheena felt like she was at a standstill. She went back and looked at all the photos that the one girl sent to her from the day that Dannie went missing. She was looking at what she was wearing and anything in the pictures that could have helped.
Yeah.
She was alone in each picture, Dannie was, but Sheena noticed something. In one of the pictures, she was wearing glasses that were definitely not hers. So she zoomed in on him, and bada bing, bada boom, there's a reflection of 4 other kids in the glasses.
Like sunglasses?
No.
Oh, just like regular glasses? Oh,
Yes.
damn. Gift basket number 2.
She calls that girl back up, and she's like, hey, girl, who was with you at the creek? And I guess the girl was a little reluctant, but she was finally able to get the names out of her, and she gave them to the police to track these people down and ask questions. I love her.
I do too. She's doing so much.
I'm so proud of her on multiple levels. One, like doing all this stuff, but also not directly interfering with the investigation.
Yeah, like at all. Like she saw the stuff at the creek and then went back and then even found the sock and was like, oh, hey, guys, that's not okay.
Yeah.
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 Snaps.
Yep. There was one thing I accidentally skipped. And I'm going to tell you right now. So the only negative thing that I'm going to say about Sheena, was that when she found that sock, she picked it up to take to the police. I understand at this time that they were only looking for a missing teenager, but please don't touch belongings.
It's very hard when you're looking for a missing person, you don't realize and you see something, but like that is why it was one of our episodes. I believe it was Tyler Goodrich that they actually sent somebody out to teach the family and friends who are doing the searches how to collect evidence and approach evidence if they do find it, so that everything would be collected appropriately.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember.
Absolutely.
In the moment.
Absolutely. Especially because you get so excited, you completely forget it. But if the police are there with you, point it out to them. They will take care of the rest. Don't literally put yourself in the middle of an investigation with evidence. That's the only bad thing I have to say about her.
And it's a human mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, the police go and track all of these kids down and start questioning them. That's when the rumor mill started up.
Of course it does.
And of course, this is high school.
Mm-hmm. We've seen it a million times.
One of the rumors was that one of the boys that was in the photo, named Angel, was there that day. They had been cuddling and making out, and he was really trying to put the moves on Dannie. Angel was known as a popular kid. He was also in the junior ROTC.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Some of the other kids described him as a fight starter, though, and was always causing trouble.
Question.
Answer.
Her and Jamal are on a break?
Yeah, they broke up, according
Okay.
to him.
Okay. Well, because he said that like after she went missing, so I didn't know if this was also.
Yeah.
We're on a break right now.
They are.
Okay.
They're on a break. When police tracked down Angel and started talking to him, he denied knowing her at all or going to the creek at all. And he apparently had a girlfriend. At this point in the investigation, not only was the local police department investigating, but they did also get the sheriff's office and the FBI involved.
Damn. All right.
So they decided to use a little bit of scare tactic
I
on
like it.
Angel, and he ended up spilling that he was there. He did talk to Dannie, but that was it. Nothing else happened. One of the girls that was also Danny's friend that was at the creek that day actually corroborated what Angel said about them not really speaking and confirmed that he had a girlfriend. They checked his alibi, and because he was supposed to be with family all night long.
Yeah.
And it was all completely confirmed. Angel was no longer a suspect.
Okay.
Yep. The police decided to reach out to Jamichael, and he was basically like, hey, you know what?
My bad. I called him Jamal earlier, not Jamichael.
I didn't even catch that.
I thought that
sorry.
it sounded wrong, and then you didn't correct me, so I was like, oh, maybe I was right, but I apologize. I said the wrong name.
I didn't even catch it.
I apologize.
Yes, Jamichael. So they call him and they're like, hey man, he's like, you know what? I'll come down to the station to talk to you right now. No problem. No problem at all. We'll talk. I can tell you about me. I can tell you about her. I'll tell you about our relationship.
I don't like this.
I don't like this. Stay away from my house.
I don't like how excited he is about this and willing.
Let me finish telling you guys.
Okay.
Okay. He told them how they were having problems, but he loved her so much that he would do anything to help find her. He told them how she was a good girl, but she was having problems at school in her 4th period because there were kids in class that would make fun of the clothes that she would wear. So she would skip that period if she could. He also asked like what he could do to help and offered up some theories so they could look into them a little bit further.
She felt like she was a burden to her grandma, and that's why she really wanted to go back to South Carolina.
If she's run away now, where do you think she went to?
Close friend. The only thing I could think of would be like a friend. I told Chyna that she told me she tried to kill herself twice. I told her that
Why?
just because she didn't want to be here anymore.
And you look me straight in the eye and tell me you didn't have anything to do with her disappearance.
I'll look you straight in the eye and tell you it had nothing to do with her disappearance.
He told police that he was at home studying all night long. His mom, grandma, and his best friend Dominic were all there and confirmed that he was home all night. Dominic also confirmed that they were studying for their SATs. Police went through his phone, and there were texts around that time that Dannie was speculated to have gone missing. And the GPS data confirmed that his phone was at his house at the time of those text messages. He also didn't have a car and lived about 30 minutes from Dannie's house. He was very worried and concerned about where she was and what happened to her. He also helped lead a lot of searches to find her. Jamichael was no longer a suspect.
But we're just so eager. I don't like honestly, I have two names of 2 cases we've done that he reminds me exactly of.
Mm-hmm.
And we are so eager.
Sometimes people are eager to help find their loved ones.
I get that, but it was okay.
But he was
I'll take
home.
it.
Multiple people saw him.
Okay.
And his GPS doesn't lie.
GPS doesn't lie.
GPS does not lie.
One of those people GPS didn't lie on either. One of the ones I was thinking of, so yeah. Okay. I apologize for being suspicious of you, sir.
They went back to the high school since there were still so many rumors swirling about. Every story they were getting was crazy. Some of them even had a gruesome setting and blood everywhere. But every story did lead back to the creek.
Okay.
The other thing that was consistently coming up was a name. That name was Derek. Derek was a really close friend to Dannie. He told many people she was like a sister to him and that he would do anything for her because family always comes first.
Weird.
Derek wasn't even enrolled in school, but he was always hanging out with the crowd at the creek. There was a story that police got that was actually kind of scary, but they were getting it almost verbatim from a lot of the kids. The story was he was apparently trying to make a move on Dannie, and when she denied him, he cut her neck with a knife and left her in the woods.
What the fuck?
Yeah. With this wonderful new lead that the police just got, they decide to track down this Derek and bring him in for questioning. Once he's at the station, he's relaxed, he's not nervous, nothing.
Okay.
Once they start talking to him, though, the whole she's like a sister thing to me, completely gone. He was claiming that he barely knew her, and he only knew her as, quote, white female, black hair, blue eyes, missing since March 11th, end quote.
Oh, are we distancing ourselves from her?
He said he didn't know her, but he noticed her. He kept talking about how gorgeous she was and how he would look at her Facebook pictures. The detective was even like, "Are you infatuated with her? Do you have a secret crush on her?" And he goes, "No, she seems a little too preppy for me." Here's actually a quick clip from his interview.
Kind of standoffish?
Yeah.
Was she standoffish to you?
She seemed like a goody-goody. And honestly, I don't hang out with goody-goodies. Goody-goodies have a bad habit of snitching.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna lie. I do illegal things, and I know I do.
So Derek said he was one of the founders of the hangout spot at the creek, and he wasn't there the night she went missing. He was at home. At around 8:30 p.m. that night, his dad left for a pool tournament, and he stayed on his computer applying for jobs and watching TV.
Okay. But before you keep going real quick.
Yeah.
I love when people admit to smaller crimes.
I do illegal things.
I do illegal things. I ain't gonna lie. I admit to it. And also, you were literally sitting in front of cops talking about you don't hang out with goody goods because they snitch.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
I love it when teenagers try to be cool. It's
Yeah.
fun. Continue. I'm sorry. I was
You're
a little
good.
hung up on that.
I know. I didn't talk about it.
I know.
so-
I was like, hi. We're not just gonna skip over that. Like,
I
we
know.
just say what we think
I
he
know.
said.
But he did tell the police they could probably find the history on his computer, but he has a really bad habit of erasing his search history because it keeps it from getting hacked.
Hold on. My eyes are stuck. Fixed them.
Wild.
Good God.
His dad actually didn't get home until between midnight and 1 a.m. that night, so no one could corroborate. No one could corroborate.
Corroborate.
This is why I can't do this. Anyway, his alibi's not adding up, okay? There we go. They finally got her phone records from the providers. It showed that her phone was still in her neighborhood right after she had left her house, but then about an hour later, her phone started pinging on towers miles away. The last ping was near Interstate 95. If you're not from the East Coast or have not listened to our Gannon episode, I-95 covers the entire East Coast from Woodstock, Maine, all the way to Miami, Florida. So this could mean she ran away or was abducted.
Question.
Answer.
Does she drive? Does she have a car? No, we're freshmen,
15.
right? We're
Yeah,
15.
she's a freshman.
So we walked to our friends to drop off the notebook?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just making sure that, like, her being in a car wasn't already something established because we didn't say how she went to drop off this notebook.
Yes, she was not currently.
Okay. So it's odd that we could be miles away suddenly.
But as I researched more, And from most places in Hope Mills to I-95 is about 7 to 8 miles away, so about a 15-minute drive.
Okay.
She was also moving fast enough to show that she was in a car.
Okay. So,
to answer your question.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if, like, she
started off walking.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. However, in the direction that her phone went towards, an RV park and one person's house was also in that direction.
Derek?
Derek.
Well, we know where Danielle's phone was. Okay, what area her phone was. It's out there around your house. Was she alive when she left that area out there around your house Tuesday night?
I have no idea. I didn't see her.
So you're saying she wasn't out there at all? She didn't come out there with some of your friends?
No, she didn't. She didn't know where I lived. I didn't know she was out there.
Your buddies know where you live. Did she come out there with some of your friends?
No.
Nobody showed up?
Not a single soul.
The police got a search warrant for Derek's house.
I love that.
During the search, they found some very questionable things.
Ooh, like what?
A fire pit. The reason this is questionable, so I don't go into.
I mean, I question it anyway, but like, what made this fire pit questionable to them?
It's North Carolina, and it's very hot and humid.
Yeah, but okay, let me hit you with some devil's advocate. I'm gonna say we're out country.
I don't
fire pits. I mean,
I don't see a fire pit as weird personally, but it also was like a makeshift fire pit. It wasn't like a built one.
Sometimes normal. I just wondered if there was something like alarming in the fire pit or something that struck them, or if they're just already on edge about him.
I think
that they're
some
like
edge about him.
It seemed like it had just recently been used.
It was a fresh one. Okay. It was a fresh fire.
So therefore the heat and all that. But I mean,
yeah. There was also a large knife in a tree. It was like stabbing a tree.
Okay. And
shovels that looked like they had blood on them.
Okay, so that part's not normal. Some other things that I can dig out for some country, land, living type things, I can write off, but that not.
Yeah. Of course, they brought forensics out there to do a test on site for presumptive blood. Nothing. There was no blood. It wasn't blood.
So what was on the shovels?
I don't know. But it wasn't blood.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Then they brought Derek's girlfriend in for questioning. It was actually a pretty short interview. It wasn't anything crazy. She said that he doesn't even have a car or a driver's license. He may seem like the bad boy, but deep down, he really wasn't.
I mean, that's slightly obvious by his attitude in that room, but...
Yeah. They, of course, searched his phone and computers, but the police could not track any type of electronic trail to connect Danielle and him in any way. There was also someone who said that Derek calls everyone his sister and brother.
Because he's trying to be a little gangster.
Pretty much.
I will say I am actually pretty impressed with the police and how quickly and fast they are digging through digital records and everything to clear people out and very solidly clearing people. We're not tunnel visioning. We're not narrowing in. We have a lot.
I haven't even really given you a timeline yet.
I know.
So you're going to be even more impressed when you find out the timeline.
Okay, because I'm already impressed with how quickly we are actually doing things and clearing. And I'm sure this is, over like a week?
2-ish.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Derek was now cleared as a suspect.
He's weird as hell, but okay.
Yeah. We are back to square one.
I feel like it's going to be a recurring theme in this episode.
They only have 2 big pieces of evidence that they can really go off of now. The help that was scratched in the sand and the sock that was found. She had been missing for almost 2 weeks at this point. They decided to search the entirety of the RV park where her phone was near.
Okay.
They drained ponds, conducted many searches throughout the forested areas, but no sign of Dannie was anywhere to be found. There were missing posters everywhere and billboards. Dateline did an episode on her in The Missing in America.
Okay.
They also did one later, which is where these clips have been coming from. If you want to watch the entire thing, I highly suggest it.
I kind of do, just off the clips you've been showing us and where they keep going. I'm hoping, no, let's keep watching.
I know. Every house in her neighborhood was also searched with the consent of the owners, of course.
Way to go, neighbors.
They did many search parties and even brought in dogs to help the search. Over 300 people joined to help the search of the creek area.
Wow.
All friends and family helped, including Jamichael and his family.
Okay.
With Danielle's face plastered everywhere, the police were getting some crazy tips coming in. They said they chased over 1,000 leads.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Some lady called in and said that Dannie was with her and she was sick.
Dannie or the lady?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was obviously not
true, but
an accurate
there's
tip.
always one.
Another person called in and said they saw Danielle at a Waffle House near the Virginia border and she was with a guy. This lady sent pictures to the detectives.
Okay.
And this person looked so similar. They were like, this is her. We have to go right now. So the FBI went to this Waffle House and like staked it out a little bit. They didn't want to scare this person.
Yeah.
They truly, truly believed it was Danielle at this point. They said this woman looked exactly like her. But once they finally made contact with her, it was very clearly not 15-year-old Danielle.
Did we have like some doppelganger action going on, or just like in pictures or from afar she looked?
I don't know.
Just like a crazy doppelganger moment?
It could be, yeah.
That's
it absolutely
wild.
Could be. Another call came in and said they saw Dannie at the hospital and she was captured on the security footage.
Okay.
It was her on the security
Was
footage.
it actually her?
Yes, it was Danielle.
When was this at, though?
She was at the hospital and it looked like she was visiting someone. Unfortunately, it turns out this footage that they were looking at was from 6 months earlier when she was there visiting her grandmother.
I'm like, this is some Pretty Little Liars shit right here.
Right?
Oh my God. I was like, oh!
I know. Hopes are up here.
And just plummeted, man.
Yeah. Craziness. On March 29th, so almost 3 weeks since she had been missing, her friends and family gathered together to do a balloon release. Most people from the school had come, all of her family, and Jamichael and his family also came in support. Her friend Alexis spoke to Jamichael at this event, and he told her that he is holding out hope that they're going to find her and that she's okay. Her family said that they felt like their hope of finding her was floating away with those balloons. They wanted any type of answer.
Yeah.
I didn't clip it, but like there was so many balloons.
Yeah.
It was hundreds.
That's awesome.
Hundreds of balloons. It was crazy. Aunt Gina went to the creek and her church every single day to pray for Danielle's safe return. But on April 2nd, she prayed that Dannie would be brought home so she could be laid to rest. She said she just knew and felt it in her heart.
I always hate when the family member gets that feeling.
Yeah. Later on that afternoon of April 2nd, one of the detectives on the case, his name is Detective Brinkley, was out driving around to find a good place to go fishing. He was an experienced shad fisherman, and he had these polarized sunglasses that actually like help the surface go away. I actually looked up the videos of it and it was kind of cool.
Okay.
I suggest looking
so like you can kind of like see under like the surface of the water.
Yes.
Without like the reflection.
Yes. So then you can see fish and like rocks. Like it's almost clear as day that you can see in this
like
water.
I've seen like the cameras that they have on like the hooks or like you can put on your line and like or in your bobber and stuff that like go in there and you can see under and stuff, but I've never seen glasses. That's cool.
It's pretty cool. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So he was standing on a bridge and was looking out at the water, and he thought he saw something that was a little odd looking. and it definitely, like, he thought it looked like a body. So he called up his dispatch and asked for them to send a deputy out to where he was and bring binoculars. He thought it could be a prank and just wanted to check. Within minutes, a deputy showed up and they were looking, and Brinkley said he saw what looked like dark human hair. One look at the clothes that was on the body, and the police knew it was her.
That is insane. Just the chances.
Yeah. That a detective that was on this case, that was interviewing children at the school, was trying to find a place to go fishing.
And just had the, like, it's just, I know we've seen it before, a dog collar falling off right on top.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's insane.
Yeah. Even though they knew it was her by the clothes, because it was the exact same clothes that was in those pictures.
Yeah.
They had to get a confirmed ID from the medical examiner. But the family was getting messages that a body was found. 15-year-old Danielle Locklear was found. Based on the condition of her body, it had been under the water for almost a month because cinder blocks had been tied to her feet to weigh her body down to keep her under the water. On the bank of the river, they also found shotgun shells, but it was determined that the shotgun had nothing to do with her death.
Okay.
The autopsy determined that the cause of death was asphyxiation.
She can't say that word.
I've said it 4 times now. And unfortunately, the sock that had caused it was still balled up and in her mouth.
Did it match the sock that Gina found at the creek?
The sock was the match to the sock that was found by the creek. It was also determined that whatever happened to Dannie started back at the creek and ended 30 minutes away from her home in the South River in Sampson County. Clearly, someone went out of their way to move her and conceal her body.
So, are they thinking that she was killed at the creek and then her body was moved and dumped into this water?
Correct.
Okay.
Do you remember something I told you earlier about someone living 30 minutes away from her house?
Yeah. I
This is
remember
nearby
who you said.
Jamichael's house.
Jamichael?
Yeah, Jamichael lives 30 minutes away.
Jamichael lives 30 minutes away from her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, oddly enough, he also lived less than a mile from where her body was found.
I told you guys I didn't like how happy he was.
Oh, wait. Do you also remember how he told detectives that she was depressed and wanted to kill herself?
Yeah, because that was a red flag and a half for me from the beginning, but you decided to gaslight me and make it all good.
I gaslight you into shit.
You were all happy-go-lucky about it, and he was fine.
He also told Aunt Sheena that the last time that they broke up, she said she was going to drown herself in cold water.
Oh my God.
All right. What else does Dante have to say?
The investigation quickly turned to Jamichael.
Yeah. I mean, I take it back. Y'all were clearing people too quickly.
They started going back through his phone and found some really disturbing messages between both of them during their breakup. So essentially what I was getting from it was that she was trying to fight and he ended up blocking her. Like, deadass, he blocked her.
Yeah.
Dannie, being the girl she was, borrowed a friend's phone and kept messaging him.
I love her.
She was definitely a shit stirrer, for sure.
She just definitely was a... I'm so mad and you don't want to talk about this anymore. We're going to keep talking.
Absolutely. At one point, he texted her back saying, quote, "Come to my house. The way I'm feeling right now, I'll shoot you with no hesitation."
The
End
fuck,
quote.
sir? Sorry.
You're fine. The issue here is that he has a super solid alibi, and 3 people placed him at his home studying when she disappeared. His phone was also at the house, and he was sexting it up with a couple females that night. Hold on. There's more.
I
so
figured.
You know the first interview I just showed you guys?
Uh-huh.
They administered a polygraph during that.
And
he bombed it.
Why was he still cleared?
I don't know. Probably because his alibi was so solid.
Okay, keep going.
At this point, they decide to pay him a visit at home. The detective said he was cool as a pickle, and they asked him to come down to the station, and he had absolutely no problem going. His mother also joined him in the interrogation room, and she believed that someone was trying to frame him.
You're saying you didn't have anything to do with it?
Yes, sir.
How do you think that's going to make you look?
Unless y'all can prove it has something to do with it, which y'all are not going to be able to because it doesn't have anything to do with it, I'm going to look perfectly fine.
Well, then help me with this. Why did you fail the polygraph?
I was nervous. I'm nervous sitting here now, so I mean.
I'm sorry. You guys won't be able to prove? I'm sorry. Oh, he might become in the top 5 most cocky people sitting in front of a detective.
Remember how we were talking about the O.J. Simpson case the last episode?
Mm-hmm.
Just reminded me of well, if I had done it.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
Funny enough, he told the detectives that if he killed her, why would he be stupid enough to put her body next to his house?
It's a good question. Why were you stupid enough?
Yeah, sir.
Well, while they were interviewing him, they got a search warrant for the house and property. And guess what they found behind his shed? Cinder blocks that matched the ones that were used to weigh her body down. And there were 2 indents in the ground where 2 of those cinder blocks were removed. They also found the same yellow rope that was used to tie it.
Didn't he just say that he wasn't that stupid?
Yeah,
okay.
He did. They questioned him about all of it, and he didn't have an answer for it. And he kept maintaining his innocence.
But he has an answer for everything. He even has theories.
Uh-huh. I know. Unfortunately.
Okay.
They didn't have enough to hold him, so they released him.
Be so fucking for real.
It's all circumstantial, technically.
I understand that.
Uh-huh. Over the next few days, they decided to go back over his alibi. They realized that his mom and grandma said that he was at the house with his friend, but they never actually laid eyes on him that night. So they decided to go back and talk to his best friend, Dominic. And as soon as they asked him to, come and speak with them, he lawyered up. 4 days after all of this went down, the police received a phone call from Jamichael. He told them he was on his way down to the station because he's ready to confess.
For real?
For real. This is what he told detectives of what transpired that night. Also, the acting. The clip is crazy. It's wild to me. But this is
like the acting when he confesses or the acting we've had up until now?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
We're going to say both. Because you guys saw how cool he was in that video. Then all of a sudden, before he starts talking to the detectives, he's like, oh, what did I do? Please, God, help me. He was freaking out in this room.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
throwing his head against the wall and, dramatic. Very
okay.
Or he finally broke. Could have been that,
a man tantrum.
Yeah. So, this is what his confession stated. He and Dominic snuck out of the house and started heading to Dannie's house. He wanted to talk to her. He threw his wallet at her window, like, pebbles on a rock, but his wallet.
Why?
To get her to come downstairs.
I get that, but that's a
know.
good way to lose your wallet.
Yeah. She got into the car, and they headed to the creek. He said they sat down and talked for a bit, and what came out next literally made me gasp, to the point where my cats freaked out, and Derek came to ask me if I was okay.
Different Derek.
My husband, Derek. My husband, Derek, came to check on me.
Okay, I'm ready.
According to Jamichael, Danielle had been telling him on and off for months that she was pregnant.
And she was supposed to take a pregnancy test in front of me.
If the test came back positive, Jamichael was adamant. He said he would provide for his child, but he would not be with Danielle.
And that's when she snapped on me and she punched me in my face. And she slapped me and jumped on top of me and got all over me and stuff.
In the middle of their alleged fight, Jamichael said he took her by the throat.
All I remember was I grabbed her, I was choking her. I blacked out.
Jamichael said when he came to, Danielle wasn't breathing. He said he called out to Dominic in a panic, and together they loaded Danielle's body into the back seat of the car.
The fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, do we have any confirmation that she was pregnant?
I'll get into this in a minute.
Okay, I figured that you would, but I was just curious.
There's more. I need a dramatic effect here.
I also want to make a note, and maybe you'll get into this later, because you said in the autopsy it was determined that she died by asphyxiation, not strangulation.
Correct.
All right, carry on.
Oh. Okay.
Good catch. Look at you go. According to the police, the scratched word help that was in the sand could not have come from Dannie, since it looked like someone had taken time to do it and she would not have had that time.
Okay.
So this was just a complete...
Just random thing teenagers at the... Yeah.
Yeah. Craziness. They also believe that her other sock came off of her while she was being dragged to the car. Jamichael said that Dom was the one that put the sock in her mouth because she was making a noise and he didn't want anyone to hear it.
And that's what I figured was the difference between what our autopsy report said. That's what I figured, something happened like that.
While driving back to his house, they threw her phone out of the car on the side of I-95, found the rope and blocks, tied her up, put her in the trunk, and threw her into the lake. He then said that him and Dom made a pact to take it to the grave.
And then Dom lawyered up.
Yep. He was then arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Days later, Dominic Locke was also arrested and charged.
Good.
Her friends and family felt completely betrayed, but they also believe that he wasn't telling them the entire truth. They don't believe that the fight and crime of passion story he told was real, and they definitely didn't agree with the second-degree charge.
No.
Mm-hmm. They pointed to him leaving his cell phone at home to start with, so they believed he knew exactly what he was trying to do by leaving his phone at home. The detectives also believe that because he took her to the creek in a dark, secluded area, instead of hashing out whatever was going on in front of their house, it was a setup.
Yeah.
They took Jamichael back to the creek to try to have him walk through what happened. The detective told him to close his eyes and try to count how long he had been choking her for. His attorney stopped him at just over a minute in.
Are you fucking kidding me? I thought you were going to say the attorney has stopped him before he even did it.
So the detectives believe that if he truly blacked out, that he wouldn't have been able to remember that detail.
Way to go, detectives. Way to just sneak that in there.
They think the motive was because she may have been pregnant and it was going to mess up his life plan of going into the Marines.
Yeah, based on what he said in the interview about how he would have stepped up and done it, like...
According to the autopsy report, she was not pregnant at all.
Oh, cool. So he made that up.
I don't know.
Was there any text message proof between them, like in their phones talking about that?
I got no confirmation of that.
Okay.
But yes, we would have been friends with her, and she seems like a lovely person. But I feel like she was extremely confrontational, and she was also 15, so she could have been saying that to him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know though. So it's just interesting because it's all going to be he said, she said, and also it could be that if she was with him being like, I want her to take pregnancy tests, like maybe he didn't believe it. Maybe it was something that like she's thrown out before when they've like broken up or done other things. I don't know.
I don't know.
Who knows? Just
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yes. I now get to touch back on this little part too. Do you remember everything I was saying to you about his first interview and how he was talking about her?
Yeah.
In past tense?
Loved her.
Yeah.
He loved her. She was a good girl.
I don't like that line still.
Oh, I know. It really bothered me when I heard it too.
It still bothers me.
Yes, but he was consistently referring to her in past tense during his interview. And no one caught it.
I did not catch that because I already knew what happened, so like my mind was already there.
That's fair. I also didn't play all of it. I read it to you.
Yeah.
Verbatim.
Yeah, so.
Also, before you ask, I know you want to know, what about those text messages that were sent from his phone with the GPS at the time he was out doing all of this?
I was wondering about that.
Because he was like off disposing of a body. How is he sexting some girl? Well, he downloaded an app.
That's what I was
that
gonna
lets
ask.
you schedule timed text messages. He was literally doing everything he could to build himself an alibi.
If that's not premeditated, I don't know what is.
Right?
I mean, we might as well be reading out of Webster's dictionary right now.
Pretty much. With trial coming up, prosecutors were trying very hard to go for first degree because of all of this. With all of the evidence I just told you, they believed they could convince a jury. However, he could have also swayed the jury with his promising young man thing that he had going on and gotten involuntary manslaughter and would be out in 5 years. So, this was all going to be a super big gamble.
Okay.
However, Jamichael ended up taking a plea deal and pled guilty to second-degree murder and received 25 to 31 years in prison. His sentencing happened in May of 2016. All of Danny's family was in attendance.
Good.
Jamichael even turned and spoke to them directly. He said, I know sorry doesn't cut it, but I do want to say that I'm truly sorry.
The fuck?
His mother also spoke to the family, and she was begging for mercy. Danny's mom shot that shit down so fast.
As she should.
And said, you want mercy? Where was the mercy that night? You ripped my soul out.
Yeah, that was exactly my first thought when she said that was, I'm sorry, where's Danny's mercy?
Jamichael will be eligible for parole and release in 2041. Also, I have found a couple of things that as of right now, it shows he's set to be released in 2042. Which is very strange. But that's 31 years since it happened.
I mean, his promising career was taken away anyway.
Of him going into the Marines.
Yeah, so.
Dominic Locke, his buddy, his bestie, pled to being an accessory and received 6 to 8 years. During a distressing day in court, as he was sentenced, Rona, Danielle's mom, also spoke to him.
Okay.
And this is rough. She says, I went to a funeral home and they pulled my child out of the freezer and I had to look at her in a plastic bag because they wouldn't even open it. She was also submerged in water for over a month.
Yeah. No, I knew why. Just get it, Mama.
Dominic was released after serving 8.5 years in prison.
Okay.
So I'm assuming the little extra, he probably got in trouble.
Yeah, something.
But he is out and free. In 2017, Danielle's high school class graduated, and they honored her. They decorated a seat with a graduation cap and ribbons. Her family was invited, and they had a large blown-up pictures of her. They gave her mother a shadow box that had her diploma in it. They graduated Danielle with her friends.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. No one ever went to the creek anymore after that night.
Yeah.
Danielle's murder shocked the Hope Mills community and sparked conversations about teen dating violence and mental health awareness. Her family has worked to keep her memory alive, advocating for resources and education to prevent similar tragedies. Danielle's case changed a policy within the police department.
Okay.
Anytime that a juvenile under 18 is called in as a missing person, an investigator is assigned to it immediately.
Okay.
Before, it had to go through multiple hands for approval before an investigator even got it. But now...
I mean, we weren't really messing up on any accounts here. I mean, at first they were trying to tell them that, but that the family wouldn't have done all their due diligence like it would have. But I'm impressed we got some change when we didn't even have that much uproar.
Yep. The detectives at the station also have a photo of Dannie posted on their wall.
Aww.
They said they don't want to forget this part of the Hope Mills history.
Oh, I like that.
Danielle Locklear was always the leader of any group. Her family said that she was growing into a young lady that either wanted to be a nurse or a chef. They said that she loved to bake and would always be trying new recipes. She was loved by so many people, and the way everyone spoke about her and her laugh, I wish I could have heard it at least once so I could really know.
Yeah.
Teenage domestic violence is a serious and often overlooked issue that involves abusive behaviors within relationships among adolescents. This can include physical, emotional, verbal, or sexual abuse, as well as controlling or manipulative behaviors. It often stems from a lack of understanding about healthy relationship dynamics, peer pressure, or exposure to violence in other contexts. The impact of teenage domestic violence can be profound, affecting a young person's mental health, self-esteem, and the ability to form trusting relationships in the future. Raising awareness, promoting education on healthy relationships, and providing accessible support systems are crucial in addressing this issue. If you or anyone you know is experiencing domestic violence, help is always available. You can call 1-800-799-7233 or text the word BEGIN, BEGIN, to 88788. Someone is available 24/7 and in more than 200 languages. All of these resources can also be found on our website at justiceforpodcast.com. I want to give one more big shout out to Lauren for submitting this case to us. If you are interested in submitting a case to us, you can go to the case submission tab on our website and send us anything you want. We're here.
Yeah, we love to hear from you guys.
Before I read this last sentence, is there anything further you would like to say?
Yes. You just reminded me while you were talking through that. We know that it is the end of January, but that is a great Kickstarter into February, which is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So we will have a lot more resources for you guys throughout the month of February on that and more things. But this was just a very good segue into their awareness month as well.
Absolutely.
So look out for more information on that.
Absolutely. Lastly, Lauren, when you and I were emailing, You had said that you'd like to think she knew how much you cared for her, even if you couldn't speak it. She knows, babe.
Oh, yeah. And I would like to say I read through all those emails. I waited for Sam to go through them just because. And, like, I loved the descriptions you gave of her. I felt like I knew her. I felt like I've met her before and everything. Like, she knew, babe.
She knew, babe. With how highly you spoke of her and how much your friendship meant to her, she knows. And she is so lucky to have a friend like you to keep her name and memory alive. And thank you so much for trusting us to tell her story.
Yes, thank you for sharing sharing her with us.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed getting to know her through you.
Yeah, absolutely. But that is all I have for you guys today.
And apparently we're going to cry through the end of today's.
That's
so
fine.
that's fine. It's cool.
It's cool.
Have a good week.
Yes. We love you guys. We will catch you next week with another Fool Dive. And we'll see you then. Okay. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.